If you have dreams of travel but little money to do it, meet Matt Hamilton, a man who promises to tell you how you can enjoy endless million-dollar views from a $5 a night bungalow. And yes, he'll answer your questions. When you hear Matt Hamilton has essentially been traveling the globe since 1998 on next to nothing, you will likely have one of two reactions. The first, he's crazy and too carefree. The second, how can I do what he's doing? He is sharing his insights and highlights in his first book, Through Travel and Error, Confessions of an Asylum-Seeking Canadian. In it, he chronicles his backpacking adventures, and in a few minutes, we will take your calls and questions. He'll be able to tell us how, for the price of a one-week-long Caribbean holiday, you could translate into a month or longer in another exotic part of the world. It's great to have you here. You're home for a little while.
Just a little while. While the sun's out, I'm in Ottawa.
And you grew up a stone's throw from our station.
Just down the street, actually. Yeah, I'm definitely a neighbor.
Now, we have to give the background first, Matt, because you didn't necessarily know that you'd become a travel writer and that you'd be living all over the world, because what were you doing before?
Well, I finished university. I fell into the world of insurance, life insurance at that. And 2 years disappeared. Up until that point, I had no plans to travel, no real desire. Maybe it had been tickling at the back of my head, but as far as giving it up and taking off and finding myself, no plans.
And in the world of life insurance, you actually had to sort of say no to a family business in order to head out on the road.
Very much so. I think Mom and Dad were hoping that I would fall into that path, but thankfully I got a younger brother who took over from me.
So what do Mom and Dad think when they read the back of the book and it says, okay, he fully anticipated some learning experiences and challenges along the way, but his vision never included heroin addicts, living in brothels, and working for gangsters?
Well, yeah, for Mom and Dad, a lot of it was a surprise. I made my calls home and sent my emails, but there were some details that I decided to keep out. After they read it, I think they had enough confidence in my abilities traveling that I don't think they were too concerned. It's a bit of an eye-opener. I think they were glad they read about it after the fact. But
the book comes with a forewarning. You say that it's going to take you a while. This is really the tiniest little bit of your journey over the past decade or so. This, for the most part, you're focusing on what?
Well, it's the first 2 years of my travels. So when I left home, I had no idea what was out there, no idea how to travel, what to do. So for the first maybe 4 or 5 months, it was a lot of mistakes and learning experiences, including spending my budget a lot faster than I had hoped to do so. Worked in the Canary Islands for about 4 months for this notorious British gangster, and then found myself in Southern Africa, and that's the second half of the book, and that's where I really started to discover what I wanted in life. And
I think your lead-in is almost perfect, because we're going to share a lot of images, and I think many of them are South Africa, are they not?
Quite a few.
Let's look at some of your photographs.
For sure. Well, yeah, so this is in South Africa, in a region called the Transkei, and the Transkei during apartheid was an area that was designated for the African people. It was self-governed and left on their own. And as a result, it's very poor, very tribal, very authentic, and extremely beautiful. And that was a woman who was carrying a baby African style. Quickly jumping over to Southeast Asia, this was
which is one of your places that you say people have to visit. You've never felt safer in your life.
Ever. It is absolutely beautiful. The people are fantastic. The food is delicious. And this is a place called Koh Phangan. The only way to get to this place was by boat. And this is actually where I spent 3 months writing this first installment.
I think I would be happy to write for this. This guy's great.
Yeah, no, I spent some time in the Middle East in a Bedouin village where there was literally nothing to do. You were right on the sea, and you stared at camels. This was the village there, to give you an idea. This nomadic tribe, hardly anybody spoke English. The man actually who I stayed with had 3 wives and 21 children. I really was a fly on the wall observing life there.
Oh, and that's really what you offer in the book as well. And as we look at some of the other images, we want people to know that you're going to take phone calls and sort of help people, or actually take some of the terror out of it for people. What are we looking at here?
Well, this is in South Africa, again back in the Transkei. It's known as the Wild Coast, and it has claimed many, many shipwreck over the years, and some of them are still visible to this day. They literally smashed right up on the coastline. This again is in the Transkei, and this is the type of accommodation that you can find when you decide to get away from the hotels. This is a place that had no phones, no electricity. Here's the beach, nobody on it. You'll find actually more cattle on the beach than people. It is completely deserted, and you really are a fly on the wall, and that gives you an opportunity to observe the people, observe the culture, and really take something away from the experience. I mean, for me, traveling is more about taking photos and checking places off the list. It is about learning, and when you go to a place like that, coming back to Canada, things are put into perspective. Things don't stress me out here anymore because I've seen poverty at its, I'm going to say, finest. There's a dignity in the poverty there. There's a sense of community in the poverty there that really makes you realize how lucky we are here and how special it is here and how good people are here. I mean, one of my favorite things about walking through the Transkei in Southern Africa was waving to complete strangers. Everybody waves back.
Well, Matt's had no problem making new friends. We're going to share some of those stories when we come back, and we're going to, as I said, encourage you to potentially pack your backpack, because the book is called Through Travel and Error. And when I said that some people have travel terror, that's what you're going to try to break down, because a lot of people are afraid to head out there into the big, bold world. We're going to help you after the Valley Notes, 613-750-1211 or 1-888-750-1211. We'll be back.